I find myself to be empathic and absorb others' feelings and energies easily. How can I be strong in myself and centered in God and less influenced by others around me?
Yeah, very good question. I seem to answer a lot of questions by telling stories, but I just feel like Master has given me these amazing stories. When I was taking some courses in between being a nurse for years and getting ready to come to medical school, my husband and I, he was a physician, I was a nurse, we both worked in the same emergency room on weekends. It was a very busy emergency room down near San Diego, really busy, particularly on weekends, because it's such a great play area right on Mission Bay. I would work 8 hours, he worked 12. I would finish early and go sit in the doctor's room and study. One day we saw a patient, he's the doctor, I'm the nurse, and she came in with a very bad vaginal infection. And she was very distressed about it. And my husband did the workup, and it turned out she had a bacterial infection called Gardnerella. And at the time, it was thought to perhaps be a sexually transmitted disease. There were questions about it, but certainly everyone felt it could be transmitted sexually. He, who was very busy in this busy emergency room, very quickly said, "Don't worry, not that big a deal, Gardnerella, here's a prescription, go." And she did. She left. And about an hour later, I had this feeling, and this is so many years ago, but I had this feeling that she was suffering. It came over me. I was still working. I mean, I was still in my 8-hour shift, but it was so compelling that I went outside like I had her suffering in me. I didn't even know she was suffering when she was there. She just said, "Okay, thank you," and walked away. An hour later, she was sitting out in her car. I found her in the parking lot, drawn by this inexplicable force. She was out there sobbing, feeling so ashamed of herself for having this infection. And I just got in the car with her, and I held her, and I just spoke to her logically, reasonably. "There's nothing to be ashamed of. We're not even sure," I said at the time. But even if it was, I mean, there but for the grace of God go many of us. You know, it was, anyway, she felt better and she left. About 3 or 4 hours later, I'm sitting in the doctor's room alone, and I feel that I have developed a vaginal infection. I felt it. I couldn't believe it. I go out and I say to my husband, "When you're done, you're going to have to examine me. I can't believe it. I just suddenly developed this vaginal infection." Now, I had been married and only with my husband for years. And I had her infection. And it really stopped me in my tracks. Somehow, I knew. I said to myself, this is a vaginal infection. It's treatable. But this could be cancer. I need to find a way to keep my heart as open as it was and not take on other people's energy or karma. Now, I know I'm just getting to your question, but I think the story holds a lot. I didn't even use the word karma. I'm not sure if I knew the word karma then. I don't think I did. But I knew that I had to find that way to live as the empathic being that I am. Otherwise, I'd be shutting myself down from my soul. I'd be separating myself from my soul. I knew that then. I had a different language, but I knew it. And yet, find a way to let, I just have to use the words I know now because I don't know how it came to me, their karma be theirs and mine be mine. And that is the truth. My karma is to be empathic and to be compassionate and to be with people in a way, this is what I've been given, that they feel seen and heard and understood. And in that, there is so much room for healing. It is not mine to think that I heal them by taking on their karma. Let's face it, only very, very, very great saints can do that. And even they suffer with it unless they're an avatar. Somehow, without any of that, I knew that. So how do we go about, and this is what our teachings are. This is why we take Raja Yoga and we become Kriyabans and we keep coming to classes and we keep learning and expanding and uplifting our energy, because the answer to that is that their karma really is their karma. And they do need to go through whatever it is they're going through. It was also her karma to have a nurse walk right out of the emergency room and hold her for 15 minutes. She's probably never been held like that in her life, with that much love and that much caring. So she had the infection, but she had an opportunity to be loved. People have things in the world, but they're also, everything that comes to us is an opportunity for our further growth. And our growth is always about opening to the divine. And God is love. So we have to keep practicing being near others with our mantras, with our belief, telling ourselves in our own minds, that's their karma. That's what's happening for them right now. What is my role in it? It is rarely for one human being to take on the dis-ease of another. Rarely. I feel within myself that there have been moments for me where for a little bit of that, it's been the truth. I have felt it not like a great spiritual teacher would know it. I don't mean that. Like what happened, I felt happened to me, so I could learn this lesson. But every once in a while, I share in somebody's pain with them as a way, it's almost not conscious, but it eases their pain enough that the light and therefore the healing can come in. But almost never, close enough to never, that that's how we should hold it. They have their karma, we have ours. We don't help them. That is usually an emotional reaction to want to take somebody else's disease, pain, suffering. So we have to get strong and honest with ourselves and begin to know ourselves with the kind of clarity that we can feel when something's ours. Oh, look at what's here for me in this. What am I going to learn by being near this person who's going through their own karma, whatever it is, a great loss, a cancer, any other kind of an illness, whatever it is, even extraordinary joy. We each have our own karmic paths, and that's the teaching here. So really the question is, how do we keep learning the teachings and relearning them and absorbing more and more and more? I think this is why there are people who take Raja Yoga 4 or 5 times. Every time we take it, every time we teach it, take it, anything, we learn more about this, and that's just the way that we come to these realizations, these absolute knowings. And on an energetic level, we're transformed, and then our hearts are open. But whatever somebody else is going through simply doesn't come to us. It's not ours.